Good day, everyone, and welcome to episode 33 of the Jersey Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and today we got a slew of topics that we're going to be talking about, and a whole slew of hosts that are going to be joining me. Today we're going to be talking about the 50th anniversary for the QMJHL that came out. There's a patch. All teams will be wearing it. It's massive on the jersey. So any team from the QMJHL that makes the Memorial Cup next season is just going to have a ridiculous looking jersey, but we'll get to that. And we're also going to talk about our top 3 missing jerseys from our collection. We're going to get as specific as possible, or maybe just regular comments, whatever we can do. We're also going to have Throwback Throwdown, Fake or Authentic, and much more. So let's get right to it. All right, as I mentioned, we have a whole slew of writers on today, so let's get right to it. Joining us is Monday's writer, Shawn. What's going on?
It's not really a podcast, I guess, if I'm not on this. The hockey season's basically over to this point for a Winnipeg fan. Has been for a while, but the off-season's been interesting. Wearing my 1989-1990 Brandon Wheat Kings jersey.
Well, you've narrowed it down to the year now?
I have it down to the year based on the manufacturing on the back.
Cool. All right. Also joining us is Thursday's writer, Justin. What's going on?
Not too much. Have to be back after what's probably like 2 or 3 months off. So definitely good to come back after a long hiatus.
Yeah, definitely. And Friday's writer, TC. What's up?
Hey, not much. Just enjoying being back for another week of the podcast.
And Sunday's writer, Steve. What's going on, Steve?
Howdy. I'm here, and I'm happy to be here.
You sound happy to be here. It sounds good.
I am tired. Very tired.
He's here. He's really queer. Get used to it.
Only 2 things come from Texas. Steers and queers. I don't see a set of horns, boy.
And we
look
also
like you could suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
We also have General Lurcher, General Hang-Arounder, our resident fence sitter, Bpoe. What's going on?
Not much. About to do a podcast again.
Yeah, we just all logged on to Skype and you were here, so we figured come on in.
Rid of him.
So as I mentioned...
Fun fact, he never actually logs out. He sits here waiting.
Guys!
We apologize to the subscribers of the video feed as to what Bpoe was putting on the video feed before we began the podcast. You will receive your 20-cent refund for this podcast.
But the
$9.95 service charge is still in effect.
My favorite part of last week was when Bpoe was showing his phone to his webcam so that everyone could see what he was talking about on the podcast. All right, let's get right into it. We got the 50th anniversary for the QMJHL, part of the CHL, and it's going on all the jerseys. We saw it at the QMJHL draft, which I know everyone here was watching round by round, selection by selection. But anyways, all the jerseys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. All the jerseys had the 50th anniversary league-wide patch on them. This is a fairly simple logo. It comes in navy blue shield, banner on the bottom that says 1969, 2019. That's separated by the league logo, 3 stars on the bottom. And then it has the number 50 standard kind of sports block font, and it's beveled. It's a really simple logo. Just let's start off with your initial thoughts, Shawn.
I've been to at least 15 QMJHL games, and I have to say this is not going to look good for my Mooseheads, who are forced to play in the Memorial Cup because they're hosting it next year. And this is going to be a mess. The logo itself is okay, I guess. It works consider the fact that most of the QMJHL wears some form of blue. This will look fine for quite a few teams. I think the only teams this will really look particularly bad for are Charlottetown, Halifax, and possibly Glanville, but even then they're monochrome. So a good logo. It's just, the 2 teams from the QMJHL that do make the Memorial Cup might have the same problem that Acadie Bathurst had this year.
Yeah, good thing it's not this year, and they're not wearing the the 100th
I
memorial.
went 16 passages instead of
Be
15.
disgusting. Oh,
Like those fake jerseys that you see with patches all over the front and all over the back. It's like
That's what it
it's
is.
like an entire patch collection put on one jersey.
That's what it
100,
is.
100 NHL, 100 patches. Just really drive it home.
All right, Justin, your initial thoughts when you saw this?
I mean, the logo's fine, but like you said, it's just really big. And as we saw in the Memorial Cup this year, patch management in the CHL, for whatever reason, is not a high priority thing. So, I mean, I think we're very easily going to run into as much patches taking up as much space as the crest itself takes up on the front, and it becomes a big issue.
They don't want to touch the arms like the NHL went ahead and did it, but not the CHL. Just throw them on there front and center. Everyone's got to see them. It'd be hilarious to watch players where patches are all going down the right side, and so they're compensating by kind of leaning left a little bit. That'd be kind of funny.
It's to the point of like ads in the European leagues, except it's just ads for the league itself still.
Yeah, just self-promotion that's gotten way out of
So
hand.
we could be making money off this, but let's just make these players heavier anyway. It's fine.
Next year in the QMJHL, primary logo is going to actually be the QMJHL 50 logo, and instead the primary logo is going to go on the upper right chest where the patch normally goes.
Collar insert. Just move it to the collar insert.
yeah.
The CCM logo takes up the rest of the space.
They're
TC.
turning into the WNBA, folks.
True.
The CCM logo will go across the front of the jersey like the Buffalo
Like
logo
the Buffalo.
on the Turd Burger, except it's going to be big and stretch all the way across. And you can have 50th anniversary logo below it as a primary crest, and then
It's going to extend onto the pants as well. Just to be safe.
No. It's going to be like a Rangers jersey where each letter is a different patch. So it'll be 50th anniversary CCM Memorial Cup go diagonally, and then we'll put the team's actual primary logo on the back of the collar.
No, it's got to be on the inside.
Collar insert.
Oh, it's a hanger effect.
Hanger effect, yep. Yeah. TC, your thoughts when you saw this logo?
I actually don't think it's a bad logo. Like, it does what it's supposed to. The 50 is the main thing that'll let you know. It's a pretty basic logo, but like it's been touched on, it's just way too massive. I've seen women on a beach with less material on their chest than this. Like, it is a humongous patch that's just an eyesore for a jersey.
Yeah, there's no reason for it to be so big. Unless, like, the league ordered a whole bunch of them, just 1,000 of them, get them a good deal on bulk. But they never considered the
realize
size.
they had the dimensions in inches instead of millimeters.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn that metric system.
Steve, what'd you think when you saw the logo?
Basically what everyone else said. It's pretty plain, but it's effective. I want to say just come up with something that I've always thought of. That, like, if you look, I've always felt that only on the chest should you either have the, say, like a playoff final patch or the captaincy or the alternate A. I've always thought of an idea of doing something like every other patch be on a sleeve or be designated purposely somewhere else on the body of the player instead of just trying to throw everything on the front of the jersey, because you literally look like an army general and not in a good way. So I mean, I don't know if you guys who followed the NBA All-Star Game, but a few years ago what they did was they would put, kind of like on their warm-up jackets, they would put these little emblems for how many times they've won, like an MVP award, how many times they were an All-Star, that type of thing. So something along the lines of that could possibly work.
Yeah, absolutely. Bpoe, close this one out for us.
Yeah, like everybody said, it's a pretty nice logo, and I could do with or without the beveling. I'm not really sure why it's only on the 50, and it might look better without, but it's not too bad as it is. And the other thing that I noticed about it, if you look at the top of the shield on the left and right side, why does it not curve entirely? Why does it kind of curve a little bit and then just suddenly go straight a little bit? That I don't really understand, and it just looks a little bit like a mistake to me. I would do without that, but again, way too big on the jersey. And another question for Steve: in your setup there, where each part of the body is designated for a certain type of patch, what kind of patch goes on the crotch? Well, which patch?
The
is
one that
designated down there?
consents safe sex.
It's the stop patch, like you gotta wear it.
Oh my gosh. Gotta wear new leagues.
That'd be a good idea. Stop patch right there.
The league goes and gets a sponsorship with Trojan. That'd be good too.
No, it's just a picture of Bettman's face, so everyone gets hit in the nads.
Oh god.
And he's got his mouth wide open.
Much more enjoyable.
I think I also figured out another good place for the team's primary logo. Instead of the hanger effect, put it on the fight strap.
There we go. What are those fake jersey fight straps? Like the really thin, gangly ones that you see on the knockoffs.
That are crooked?
Yeah, the crooked ones, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's got to be going up into the jersey instead of down to the pants.
All right, so getting back to the logo here. When I saw it, I thought it looked a little familiar, and I would say that it's a solid logo. But what they ended up doing was just a step above, stealing some solid clip art. And what I mean by that is get your Googlers out and check out the AHL's 80th anniversary logo. And this thing looks nearly identical to the AHL's 80th anniversary logo from 2 or 3 years ago. So, I mean, AHL went with their own colors, and obviously QMJHL goes with the navy. But yeah, so it was a solid logo, and I saw it on the jerseys, and I said, well, that's too big on the jerseys, but at least it's not over the top.
Oh man.
Yeah, but then I saw the 80th anniversary logo for the AHL, and this thing is almost a direct copy.
Are we surprised?
No, not surprised. Definitely not surprised.
At least the top of the shield on the AHL one doesn't go straight suddenly for no reason.
Well, that's why they had to do it. They had to make sure it wasn't the same logo, right?
Yeah.
There's your answer.
Straighten it out, they'll never know.
Completely different logo.
All right, so that's our thoughts. Let's all give a quick number rating here. I'll just go out of 10 to make it easy, and I'll start it off. And I'll just make it barely passable. 5.5 out of 10. Shawn?
I'll be a little nicer. I'll say 6, but the only reason I'm saying that is, again, you're in a league where I think almost half the teams wear blue.
Justin?
I'll join Shawn. 6 out of 10 on design. I'd say size-wise, it's about a 25 out of 10.
TC?
I'd say 6 out of 10. It's nothing spectacular, but it could be a lot worse.
Steve?
I'm also going to say 6. I mean, it's not out there, but at the same time, it's safe. So,
All right, and Bpoe.
Yeah, I guess I'll go 6 as well. Might as well join everybody else.
All right, if we take the top mark, that's a 6, and the lowest mark, that's a 5.5, and get rid of them, it works out to be a 6 average. So, way to go, QMJHL. You took a logo, you made it your own, and you got 6 out of 10.
You get a D.
From this group of writers here.
it's still passing in most places.
Hey, in Canada, that's a C, okay?
That's a C minus.
Yeah. I'm not lying. That is a C.
And that's why
Or
we're
you
beating you.
Canadians a lot nicer about your grading up there?
I guess so,
They say
because
sorry, and then they hand you the F.
That's a level 2 minus.
you need to read about this more, eh?
Oot.
All right, let's go to our
Everybody
next.
just thinks they're a stellar student because people say, "What's your grade, eh?" Oh, you got an A? Fantastic.
Beauty, eh? Way to go. All right, let's move on to our next topic, and I thought this would be kind of fun. We've probably talked about this before, but not necessarily on the Jersey Nerds podcast, but our top 3 missing jerseys from our collections. And Shawn, you going to stick around? You going to do this one with us?
I'm doing this one with you.
All right, Sean's going to stick around. Top 3 missing jerseys. You can be as specific as you want, or maybe don't think about it that hard. But Shawn, start off with a couple.
All right. I have a lot of jerseys. And
It's
one of them
3.
73. And one of the ones I'm certainly missing from my collection is the only Atlanta Thrashers jersey I don't own, and that's their original white jersey. frankly, because it's clearly their most popular jersey for people to buy, and they were very cheap at one point, but now people actually want them. And they're just, of the Thrashers jerseys, they are probably my least favorite. And on top of that, I'm more concerned with customizing my current Thrashers jerseys. I mean, if I had to think of an obvious one, you guys probably don't know this, but I don't actually own an Islanders black alternate.
The heck you say?
This is
He doesn't own one because he owns
wait. Are
three.
we
He doesn't own it. It
Brooklyn
owns him.
one?
I don't own the jersey I am infamous for loving.
Oh, the first one.
Yes, I don't own that. I don't have a version.
All right, that is your graduation present from us. We are going to find you one and get it for you.
That is your graduation present from Steve. I'm not backing him up.
Actually, you know what? I think that should be our new official HJC jersey. It's just going to say
We'll
hockey.
just get a new one every day.
You know, we're low enough with the turd burger. How can we go lower? Oh, let's use the first Black Islanders jersey. That'll really knock us a peg.
That'll be our alternate. That'll be our alternate jersey. We need to have a Homa Ronin alternate. That can be our alternate.
Beauty.
Like it.
And at number one, for the jersey that I'm missing the most from my collection, is a 2000 to 2007 Toronto Maple Leafs alternate.
Really?
This was my favorite Leafs jersey as a kid.
Not
It's
in your
super cheap.
collection?
They're available.
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten around to getting one. It's as simple as that. It's just like,
It's just out
You
there.
better get around to it before they're gone.
oh yeah.
Shawn, I thought your list would be way more exciting. Like, oh yeah, I'm looking for the Black Islanders jersey and whatever other terrible jersey
Brian
you
Gianta.
love.
The Mooterus.
Yeah, I'm looking for a Mooterus.
Well, I mean, I am, but like, I mean, I crossed a big one off the list yesterday with getting a Desert Skate jersey.
All right, that's decent.
That's the big one. And I have a Wave jersey, so it's like those are the two big ones right there, because Wild Wing and Burger King are a little out of my range right now.
Well, this isn't a logical list. Let's go to Justin. Justin, your top three missing jerseys from your collection.
Yeah, so I've been kind of reshaping my collection here over the past couple months and getting a more Penguin-centric collection. So I'm actually 2 jerseys away from finishing out the Reebok collection of all the jerseys the Pens wore under Reebok. So actually 3 jerseys, I should say. So those are my 3. So number 3 would be the original Black Edge, hopefully in a flurry. Would be ideal. I can wear it to watch Vegas games instead of blowing money on a Vegas jersey. And then the 2 Stadium Series are the other 2 I'm really looking for. So close to pulling the trigger on the original Stadium Series, and then the 2017 one is a little hard to find in a tiny little man size. So we're still looking on that one.
All right, good stuff. TC, your top 3 missing jerseys.
Top 3 missing jerseys. I'd say my number 3 is the 2014 Detroit Red Wings Winter Classic jersey. I love the striping on that. I love the specialty font that they used, and the sort of antique vintage white just works really well with the red.
That font that they used, the numbering was from 1983.
Well, it's
Still sweet.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I should know better than to bring up fonts with Steve on here. He's our font nerd.
Yep.
Number 2 would be the St. Louis Blues 1968 to 73 white jersey. This is the white version of what they based their Winter Classic jersey off of last season. And I love the yoke striping. That's really what makes it for me.
Says the Rangers fan.
Yeah. Unabashed fan of yoke striping. And my number 1 is one that's already been badmouthed in this podcast. The Wild Wing jersey.
Love it.
I love it. I love all of it. I spent the first couple of years of my life in Orange County, went to a bunch of Ducks games. I actually didn't get to see these on the ice because I was 2 years old when they discontinued them. but I was able to see them in the arena on backs, and it was so perfectly cartoony for a Disney-owned franchise, and I think it's exactly it's the perfect 90s jersey. It's exactly what 90s hockey design was about.
Great stuff. Love the Wild Wing. Steve, your top 3.
So I'm going to have to say number 3 is going to be the Vancouver Canucks 90s alternate jersey, the Gradient. Just because, and just letting you know, these are all 90s jerseys that I'm going for, just because being that I grew up, that's how I got into jerseys, was the 90s in the area and all the designs. But I really like how it had the gradient, but then the gradient is broken up with that striping that fades into the gradient. And then it's it's simple but effective. Another thing that I like is the 1994 to 1997 All-Star Game jerseys, the ones that were eventually used by the Dallas Stars. Not really particular. Personally, I like the teal and white, but I'd take purple and black. And then number 1, of course, is the Wild Wing, just because the Anaheim Mighty Ducks were my favorite team next to the Penguins. I loved Paul Kariya. He was my favorite player as a child. And just those jerseys, I remember watching a game on TV with one of those, and I was just enamored with them. I thought they were glorious. I wanted one, and to find one of those today at a reasonable price is near to impossible.
Yeah, not a reasonable price.
Trying to buy the Mona Lisa.
All right, Bpoe. This is a top 3 list. You have to make 3 choices. No
sitting on a fence.
Yeah, no sitting on a fence. Here's your chance to show people that you have an opinion. Go ahead, top 3.
Well, I've been trying to complete my Penguins collection from the 92 rebrand onward.
Oh my god.
And the only 3 that I'm missing from that are the 17 Stadium Series, the pre-Edge white ones, and the 90s Gradient ones. So those 3 would fall into that category. But non-Penguins related, I would probably have to say the Flying V, the Sharks original teal jerseys, and I think the Oilers current white ones as well, which I could easily get. But I just haven't been able to find it, a good quality one yet. Not the Adidas Reebok Premier numbers, those things.
Oh yeah.
And then there's also one that's I'm going to consider it a technical fourth. It's a game use one that I found online, but I don't want to go into any more details than that because I don't want to go and snatch it up before I get the money for it.
So
Well played.
That's 6.5 jerseys you have for our top 3.
And yet, I think I still might have taken the shortest amount of time on it.
You just listed off a bunch of.
That really went better than I thought it would.
On a fence.
Yeah.
True.
All right. As far as my top 3 missing jerseys, gonna get no. God no. If someone if someone sent me a Turdberg.
You need the HJC Turdberger that I mocked up before the podcast.
Oh God.
It will be in Monday's post.
Which is dated if someone's listening to this on a Wednesday now. I can't wait for it. No, last Monday, buddy. Last Monday. All right. No, definitely not a Turdberger. I can't believe. I mean, alone here on the podcast, there are 3 people podcasting wearing that piece of crap.
I have the Turdberger. I'm just not wearing it. I'm wearing the Wheat Kings jersey.
Great choice for not wearing it. That's the best way to utilize a Turdberger. But my top 3 are game used 2008 Buffalo Winter Classic jersey, which I've probably talked about quite a bit on the blog. New York Islanders blue fisherman jersey. I would love to get my hands on one of those. But again, same issue with the Wild Wing jersey. You're not going to get one for any kind of decent price. So you actually have to have a stack of money fall into your lap and then get on eBay and manage to find one in your size. And my number 1.
A white one for $150.
Well, that's just, you're the luckiest guy.
Yeah, the white one is a little more common, I will say, but I mean, no one really wants
The fisherman.
Look at that. Shawn is shitting on TC's parade there. You know,
I have the right weight
nice
for
jersey. It is the more common of the two, so it's not that
If
awesome.
black, I mean, you'd have something
Talking
really
about the
special.
Dorothy
But...
hockey public, the kind that puts, I don't know, the Buffa slug on the worst jerseys list, like, you know, that type.
I refuse to be talked down to by a man who likes the original Islanders black alternate.
I refuse to be talked down to a man who calls it soda. Wait. I do too.
I believe you are referring to him calling everything Coke.
All
This is
right.
a completely unrelated comment, but for some reason I thought of this whenever you mentioned the white.
Hold on. Wait a second. Are you about to stop the podcast for some random thought that just came to the top of your head?
Related.
We gotta give him credit.
It's jersey related.
Oh, you said it wasn't related to anything. Go ahead.
It was unrelated to what we were
Right.
talking about, but it's jersey related. Imagine if they had a white turd burger, and then they used that as their primary home and away.
Yes, Daddy.
Beauty. Let's do it.
Ugh.
This is the NHL we don't deserve, but the one we need.
Yes, Daddy.
All right. Rounding out my top 3 list is a Wild Wing, but I'm going to go ahead.
White turd burger.
God, you guys in the turd burger. Jeez. Wild
Can we
Wing.
get a turd burger with Wild Wing busting out
Oh
of
my
the front?
god.
Oh, too many terrible ideas coming out of this group. Anyways.
Buffalo popping out of ice.
The Buffa slug.
Oh my god.
Yes.
It's the turd
I see
burger.
a concept idea out there for the next couple of weeks.
You know, we stopped and we thought about, or you're too busy thinking about whether we could, and we never stopped.
No, it's not whether we
Whether we
should.
should.
The answer was yes, we definitely should have.
Oh yeah. No, I'll stop and think about it right now. The answer to whether we should, yes.
And put it on Redbubble account, and we're selling it.
Thanks, Dr. Malcolm.
No,
We're
we
not
just-
All right, to close out my top 3 list, I don't know
For
if
the
I
third
did.
time.
Yeah, exactly. Is a Wild Wing jersey, and I'd love some obscure number like the backup goalie. I don't even remember. I just know Guy Hebert got the start in those years, but I wouldn't be able to tell you who the backup goalie was. But that would be
or whatever his name was.
Shalenkov.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was thinking. I didn't want to be wrong, So, anyways, that's my top 3. That's everyone's top 3 missing jerseys. And as expected, when you get this many HJC writers around, it gets a little off the rails. But let's go ahead and get into Throwback Throwdown.
This is what happens when we have.
This is what happens when Bpoe's on and he talks through the music. All right. Before we go into Throwback Throwdown, Bpoe, did you have something you want to share?
Okay. This is what happens when we have about an hour before the podcast to just talk and shitpost amongst each other.
All right, on today's Throwback Throwdown, we're going back to 1979-80, and we're taking a look at the Pittsburgh Penguins, wearing blue and light blue, going up against the Boston Bruins, who were quite angry that the Pittsburgh Penguins switched to black and gold that very season. So that's why these two jerseys are going up against each other. To start with Pittsburgh, pretty much the jersey is the jersey they wear now, except where you see black, it was navy blue, and where you see yellow, it was white, and then where you see white, it was powder blue. So that's what the Penguins were rocking back in 1979. The Bruins had their classic jersey, which was the black jersey with the, well, they also had a white, but whatever. They had a black jersey with a thin white stripe outlined in two very thick yellow stripes. This had the simple, well, I guess it was fairly complex, bear head logo on the shoulders, but it was a very docile bear. Not Winnie the Pooh docile, but still very docile.
No machine guns to or anything.
I want a chainsaw bear. For those of you following along, that's a callback to last week's podcast. Be sure to view that one too.
Check out episode 32 of the Jersey Nerds podcast now. All right, there's our Throwback Throwdown. Let's go to our quick reviews. Shawn, you're still here, so give us a quick review of the Pittsburgh jersey.
This is one of my favorite Pittsburgh jerseys that they've ever worn. I've always thought that they looked better in double blue than they did in their current color scheme because I hate the Steelers. But regardless, I think these jerseys, the teams were kind of mediocre, so they're not really remembered much. And don't put Crosby on the back of these, beloved God.
Yeah, no kidding. Justin, Pittsburgh?
As a Penguins fan, I hate myself, but I'm going to have to disagree with Shawn. I think this is one of my least favorite Penguins jerseys.
You disgust me.
Yeah, I usually do, so that's fine. And honestly, disgusting Shawn probably means you're doing something right. So, but I think, I don't know, I really hate the yellow logo on these jerseys. I think the Penguins look fine in double blue, but as long as they stay double blue, I think with the yellow they were starting to transition, which I think was ultimately for the better, but I think it was kind of, rather than too little too late, it was more of a too little too soon situation.
TC, thinking about Pittsburgh jerseys?
Oh, I love these. These might be my favorite jersey that they've ever worn. I just love anybody, as Justin pointed out in his post, anybody who sticks around here knows that we love double blue here at HJC, and this is no exception. I love it, but I will give Justin some credit. The yellow triangle does sort of look out of place on this double blue scheme.
All right, Steve?
So I actually do like these jerseys. I've always thought that they looked good in the navy with this design. And if you can tell also, there is some slight differences, like the hem on the navy one matches the white jersey compared to when they changed to black, where it was varying compared to the other. But them switching over to black and gold, I mean, it was really only something that was naturally going to happen, because the city of Pittsburgh, for some reason, is in love with their city colors, and we just have to have every single team be the colors. I mean, so, but overall, for them to transition from the double blue to the black and the gold and keep the same template was really nice.
And Bpoe, round out our Pittsburgh review here.
I'm a little bit lukewarm on these jerseys. It's a really good start, but there's a few problems that keep them from being great for me. Mainly the inconsistency. I mean, the arms of the blue jersey is different from the hem, is different from the sock. And same on the white jersey. The arm is different from the hem, is different from the sock.
Which is different than the pants, too.
Yeah, exactly. Although the pants, I don't think, are as bad of a culprit as the other three. And it's kind of the same problem that they have on their current black jersey. And in regards to the golden triangle, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, it does stick out a little bit, but I really don't find it as, like, a complete eyesore or anything. And I think it still works because, you know, the golden triangle symbol.
I think it's a nice accent.
All right.
I was going to say...
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, I think it works pretty well as a nice accent, to be honest, towards the jersey. Instead of all that blue, you have that little bit of yellow to mix it up.
Similar to how red currently works with Vegas?
Yeah.
It's a logo. It's a
I think the yellow works better on the blue than the red with the gold and slate.
Yeah, I can understand that. All right.
I mean, like, even look at Chicago's logo. Most of the colors on that logo are nowhere to be found on the jersey, and it looks fine.
Yep.
I think this is the case of that, where the yellow works okay.
Yep, good point. Shawn, you're still here, so give us a Boston review.
I love these jerseys. I hate the team, but I love these jerseys. They are fantastic, and you should get one, and the Bruins should bring it back. I even like the bear patch, but Winnie the Pooh is a superior patch.
Thank you, Shawn, for that wonderful review. Let's go to Justin for his more upbeat review of the Boston Bruins 1979 jersey.
That's no. I'm agree with Shawn on this one. Switch things up a little bit here. I think these might be one of my favorite Bruins lookers of all time. I like the recolored logo on the black versus the white. I think it helps it pop on the black really well. I like the striping. I like the consistency between the home and the road. I like the fact that the home has the black cuffs to keep that color balance intact, and I just think it's really well done. As Bpoe said earlier on the Penguins one, again, you have some striping inconsistencies, between the jersey and the socks, but again, that is kind of the Bruins thing and something they unfortunately went away from with the Adidas switch. So I think it's nice to kind of throw back to that and really realize that's where they came from.
All right, TC?
Not a lot to say that hasn't been said. I like the consistent striping between the black cuffs are definitely a great addition to the white one. The contrasting bespoke logo on the dark jersey is great. I love the bear head logo. My only real thing about comparing this as a throwback throwdown versus the Penguins one is the Penguins one is so different from what they wear now, whereas a Boston uniform more or less is going to be the same throughout the years. It's roughly the same design for decades.
All right, Steve, what do you think of Boston's uniform here?
To be honest, I'm going to be against everyone else. I'm not really a fan of the dark one. I mean, the light one I'm okay with, but there's some things I like, but there's a lot that I don't like on each of them. Like, I really like the logo on the dark jersey. I like how it uses the yellow B. I'd really like to see that be brought back, like the Providence Bruins use it, and I think that's really neat. But the logo on the white one just seems really plain in compared to the other. As for striping, I mean, yeah, the yellow striping works nice with that plain, thin yellow stripe there, but it's just like you have that tiny little bit of yellow there, and then on the logo on the black jersey. And it's just like, I don't know, the balance feels off on that one. But compared to the white jersey, where the white jersey feels more balanced with the black, the white, and the yellow. So, I mean, there's some good things about it, and there's some bad things. But it's like TC said, I mean, Boston has really kept a consistent style, minus the 90s and 1000s with the half sleeve yoke thing. But overall, it's not something that you see them change up too often.
All right, Bpoe, what are you thinking about this Bruins jersey?
I love these jerseys, especially the black one. The black one is actually a very late cut to my top 3 list of jerseys that are missing from my collection. I love the striping pattern on the black one especially, and the logo, the swapping of the colors on the logo, I love again. And the thing about the socks, actually, if you look at the yellow socks for the black jersey, they are technically consistent, which is something that I find funny, but I would probably fix the white socks to be consistent, and then either take off the white from the pants and make them completely black, or add some yellow to it. But yeah, my ideal current Boston set is essentially this with Boston's current logo recolored to match.
All right, good stuff. And now it's time to choose our winner. Shawn, do you like Pittsburgh in 1979 or Boston?
This is a tough one because, I mean, I like them both so much, but I'm going to give it to Boston in this case. I just think that these are the pinnacle of classic Boston jerseys, and I think that comparing the rosters of the two, I know which one I'd have a tougher time picking a name for.
All right, Justin, Pittsburgh or Boston?
Well, the Penguins lost to the Capitals this year, so they might as well lose to the Bruins here as well, so we're going Boston on this one.
TC?
I'm going to have to throw Pittsburgh a bone. I love the double blue, and it's like I said earlier, it's something different. Like, I guess this one doesn't stick out to me as much as a Bruins design because all Bruins designs basically look the same.
Ooh,
Casually throw that in there.
that's right, guys. Remember that stripes on the yellow jersey that were kind of jagged and had the Pooh Bear on the front.
When they had the numbers on the front back in the day.
Oh yeah. The same. Every one of them.
They all look the same. They move in, take our jobs. They all look the same.
You know, TC, I'd stop you, but I don't like the Bruins, so keep going.
Even when it was the immigrants, I knew it was the Bears.
I knew it was
Damn, immigrants don't even bother to learn themselves the language.
All right, Steve, who wins here, Pittsburgh or Boston?
I'm going to have to go with Pittsburgh simply because they were able to change colors and still make a similar template look successful. But not only that, they still looked good before they even changed colors, and they just changed colors to ride on the wave of the success of the Pirates and the Steelers. So otherwise, Boston, really, they've kept a somewhat consistent look. Sans the Pooh Bear jersey. So,
all right, Bpoe, here's your chance to break the tie.
Well, I'm going to have to throw my bias to the side on this one and go with Boston. I mean, these are, like I said, these are pretty much my favorite Boston uniforms of all time, so how can I not give it to them?
shame.
Because you're a traitor.
So surprisingly, with a podcast with 3 Penguins fans on it, Boston comes out with the Throwback Throwdown win 3-2. Awesome stuff there. All right, next up, we're going to fake or authentic. Fake or authentic. This is fake or authentic. This is where I come up with 3 statements. And the great thing about this week is the writers have no clue what the statements are going to be. But I come up with 3 statements, and just like the jerseys you see around NHL rinks, you have to decide whether this is fake or authentic. So here we go. Statement number 1. I would rather have a game-used Gatorade towel rather than game-used jock shorts. Shawn, fake or authentic?
This is just kind of gross. I'm going to say authentic because, well, let me put it to you this way. You get your favorite player's jock, and you notice it's a little small. What do you do from there? Like, say you get, I don't know, let's say your favorite player was James Neal, and you get James Neal's jockstrap, and it's this. It's like a free sample cup. It's like the water cup of McDonald's.
Or it's when those girls, they look at it and they go, oh.
It's not. It's actually
Get that a lot, Steve.
It's actually a Jill, not a jock.
I've only been with one woman, TC, and she seems pretty satisfied.
Or you get James Neal's game-used jockstrap, and he's got Little James embroidered on the front of it.
He's got Little James embroidered on it, and you have to use both hands to hold it. So, James Neal, we're not saying you have to come onto the podcast to talk about this specifically, but...
Yeah, he's coming on now.
James Neal, we heard you had a tiny penis. Come on the podcast to refute us.
I can picture him now sitting in he's warming up for the game. Oh, HJC, you guys are so sued for slander.
You're so sued.
All right, let's go to Justin. Fake or authentic? I'd rather have a game-used Gatorade towel than a game-used jockstrap.
I was gonna say fake just for the personal touch of a jockstrap, just because I don't think you can get much closer to your favorite player than that. But I think Shawn scarred me enough to convince me otherwise, so I'm gonna go authentic on that one.
Well, careful to anyone who's choosing the towel. You don't know where this towel comes from. It's not necessarily
that adds to the intrigue.
It's not necessarily a bench towel where the guy's just wiping his visor. This could come from the locker room. Little James could have been around this towel. You never know. All right,
but there's the suspension of disbelief. You don't know. 100% chance that jockstrap was stuck in
Little James.
All right, TC, fake or authentic for you then?
100% authentic. I have made it a life credo of mine not to handle another man's dirty undergarments. And you know what? I'm a man of my word, so I'm going to stick to my principles here.
So it's going well so far.
Marian Hosas.
Ooh.
You have the privilege.
You know what? No, because then I'd catch whatever that fucking rash was that took him down.
Right. He can't even handle his own undergarment.
Yeah.
You think he's just been going commando for the last year?
Yeah, he retired.
Yeah, he retired because he's got the itch.
Thanks. Thanks.
No, that's it. You could sell that on eBay for so much. This is the jockstrap that shut down Marion Host's career.
This is what ended Marion Host's Hall of Fame career. What do you know? It was the jockstrap from Atlanta.
He hadn't washed it since they left.
No. Atlanta Spirit refused to wash it.
All right, Steve.
TC also hasn't washed his undergarments.
We pay you guys enough. Bring some quarters. Wash your own damn garments.
Steve, fake or authentic for you?
This is 100% authentic. Now, question. Is there blood on this?
There could be blood.
I really hope
No, on the towel.
There could be blood or semen on both.
I'm a little worried.
He's passing a kidney stone during the game.
I'm worried about that. About that jockstrap if I find some blood in it, but I would rather have a towel. Just because owning another man's underoos is that's just a little disturbing and a little bit creepy in my sense.
Oh, I would love to see everyone who's choosing a towel actually get the towel, and then you get a certificate of authenticity, and it lets you know how the towel was used.
Towel was used.
No, you get it, and there's 2 signatures on it, James Neal, and then you flip it over, Little James, and it's
just an imprint of his dick.
James Neal is written brown.
It's just his cum stain. It's a little bit crusty.
Signed James.
Come right.
All right, go ahead,
Brought to
Bpoe.
you by our sponsor, the Jizz Rag.
Tonight on the HJC podcast, James Neal's cum rag.
Jizz Rag, it's a rag. It's a rag for your jizz.
Bpoe, fake or authentic?
Our theme songs. We're good to go.
Oh,
we have a
man.
jingle. You have to go through with it.
Let's go to Bpoe for his fake or authentic on this one.
He's gonna sit on the fence.
He's going to sit on the just right.
I think it ultimately depends on the player it's for, but if we're assuming that it's for the same player, I'm going to go, I think it's fake. Whichever one picks the jockstrap, because imagine the money, how much more money that would be worth than a
Who's
towel.
going to buy that shit?
I'm sure there's some weird collector out there.
White dude, living in a barn.
There's either a weird collector out there or some girl who has a huge crush on this player.
Tyler Sagan's
Tyler Sagan's already, there are kindergarten classes in Boston right now that are made up entirely of Tyler Sagan's children.
Imagine
they had to open up a new school in the Archdiocese just for his children.
He paid for it.
Imagine if it was Sidney Crosby's job. Can I speak?
No, you're done.
You're not even a writer.
Go.
I'm a podcaster, okay? That's what I'm here for.
You're
But
a friend in the loosest term.
Imagine if it was Sidney Crosby's jockstrap, though. I'm pretty sure he's been using the same one.
That'd be the smallest one of all.
In years. That would be something that I'm sure there's some person out there who would love to have that one.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to talk to that person in order to sell it to
I
him.
don't want that person knowing how to contact.
Yeah,
So we could start a Migray group, except for players jockstrap.
Jockstrap, sweat socks.
Yeah, it'll literally be friggin' Manny Fernandez, $10.
Please, somebody buy this. I'm tired of looking at it.
Sold. R. Haslett.
Pablo Sandoval, $2.95.
And then Tyler Sagan, $9,826.48. 2 hours left.
Which is actually funny because that's the exact amount he has to pay in child support every 2 minutes.
Oh, dude.
He can't even buy his own jockstrap in England.
No, he can't.
Hey, Jamie Ben, you want to buy coffee this time? My kid wants a Lego set. Which one? 86.
It's one of the errands. I forget which one.
All right. Let's go to our second fake or authentic statement. This one's super nerdy. Just for me. Fake or authentic? Seating charts are fun to look at. Fake or authentic, Shawn?
I'm actually going to say authentic on this one.
Yes!
Yeah, no, straight up. Because when because I've been to enough Halifax Mooseheads games that, like, I've sat in every section in the building. And it's fun to look at, like, because I know where it is. But at the same time, it's like, you look at how it is, and it's like, where the good seats versus the crappy seats are.
You don't need a map to know that. If there's
Sometimes you do.
Support beam, a column in your way. Oh, that's a crappy seat.
Okay, Phil.
All right, Justin. Fake or authentic?
I'm going to go ahead and join you. I'm going to say authentic.
Yeah!
I think I would go for a different reason. I've been in enough college exams without seating charts to know how rough it gets when you don't have one. So I think having one and being able to look at it either beforehand or during definitely helps out. So I'd definitely say, not even from an aesthetics perspective, but just from a logistics perspective, definitely all the way.
Nerd.
All right,
The mechanical engineer in me is coming out.
TC, fake or authentic?
Fake. You're all a bunch of goddamn dweebs.
You're just upset because you didn't look at the Phillips Arena friggin' seating chart because you didn't need to.
I didn't need to. There were 4 other people in the stadium.
I can sit where the hell I want.
They
offered me a seat on the bench.
Dale, you get the 300s. I'll take the 200s.
I can just imagine like a really old usher working at the Phillips Arena, and some guy goes to move down to the 3,000 seats that are available on the lower bowl. Not so fast, son. Your tickets are up here.
And then he turns his back and looks back, and the usher's no longer there because he was a ghost the whole time. We haven't had ushers in Thrashers games since '06.
What a flick. All right, Steve, fake or authentic?
I'm going to go with authentic.
Yeah, he's planning a wedding. He knows.
I'm going to put it for this reason. Because one of the coolest things I actually saw was someone recreated the seating chart for the Duquesne Ice Gardens, which was in Oakland, Oakland, which is where the University of Pittsburgh is in Pittsburgh.
Totally
and
makes
that
sense.
was where the Pittsburgh Hornets played, the Pittsburgh Yellow Jackets, so that really rich minor league history of hockey in Pittsburgh started. And the person who did it, they just found it, like, in these papers, so he recreated it. So it's really cool to see, like, older arenas that are no longer around or arenas that they've renovated. It's really cool to see how the seating chart was and to see how things change or to see how it used to be. So, I mean, I think that's really cool because it's kind of like a historical thing. You get to see it for what it is at the time. And also, I'd like to think of it back towards, like, the Mellon Arena when they were expanding. You know, it was like, this makes seats. Then expand to this, then expand to that.
All right, Bpoe.
He's still giving me the side eye.
Bpoe, fake or authentic? Seating charts are fun to look at.
I'm going to go fake, not because I'm necessarily against it, but mainly because I've never really gotten any sort of specific joy out of looking at seating charts.
You
don't feel that rush every
pleasures
time? Come
we
on.
do.
If you guys explain it to me, I can explain to you what a woman's touch feels like.
I already knew that.
Why would I want that?
Why would I want that whenever I can just go look at a seating chart instead?
Seating charts never say anything.
Wait.
to me.
Who needs that when you have jerseys?
Take
Who
a
needs more help when you can just Google seating chart?
take a woman back to your place. She sits down. You pour her a nice glass of wine. Then you get out your best binder and start flipping through your seating charts.
Hey, baby, let me put on a little Barry White and we can run through this Civic Auditorium blueprint.
You sit on this side of the bed, I'll sit on this side of the bed. We don't have to touch each other. We got our spaces.
Whoa, this side of the bed, that side of the bed. We got Lucy and Ricky separate beds.
Don't worry. You can move down later in the game.
As long as nobody else is sitting there.
I can picture they're going through Barry White's old catalog, and there's a song in there called Seating Chart.
Oh, Barry.
Section 31, yeah.
Seating C23. You'll never find a view like C23. That's the seat for you and me, baby. We love C23.
Clearly, TC's thought about this.
Are we gonna come out with an HJC Christmas album or something like that now?
Oh, for sure.
We're gonna make love.
I want Jersey Casual for Christmas.
All right.
I me the Mooseheads and the Turd Burger.
I already got you one thing, so you're not getting anything else from me.
All right, here we go. Let's go to our final fake or authentic question. And this goes right along with last week's question about fighting a bear for all 62 jerseys. Once again, all 62 jerseys are on the line. I would ride a wild hippo's back for 2 minutes for all 62 NHL jerseys. It's a wild hippo. Go ahead, Shawn. Fake or authentic?
Here's the thing. I know a little bit about hippos, and as long as they're not in heat. He's not in heat.
This isn't his first time on a hippo.
We should be okay. If he's not in heat, we'll just sort of look back there and go, oh. All right.
Yeah.
He'll probably just sit down. Like, he'll probably just get on and just sit down like, oh, fuck, here we go. Some humans on me. But if he's in heat, he'll get very pissed off.
The best thing
to do when a hippo is in heat is not ride them.
But you have to if you want the jerseys.
Because he'll think you're trying to dominate him.
That's always good.
Who's supposed to not like to dominate? And if you're wearing a specific cologne, he might mistake it for your musk. Angry hippos are not good to deal with. So, you know what? I'm going to say authentic, but I'm going to be very careful in when I do it so as not to disturb the natural hippo process.
Oh, that might have been
fact,
the best.
For you guys, hippos can go over 20 miles per hour in water.
Well, as long as you hang on for 2 minutes, the jerseys are yours. So, Steve, are you fake or authentic?
I'm going to say fake on this one because just learning about hippos, I know I wouldn't survive 2 minutes because if I were to see a hippo open its mouth in the wild, I know that I'm screwed.
Yeah, as soon as you take...
And that's because those things, the reason why they sit in water is because their fat butts cannot move on land fat. But they can move fast in water. And that's how they capture people when they capture their prey, is in water.
They can move fast, but they don't know how to swim. They need to be in shallow water. That's my understanding.
This is why I like my idea.
Check yourself in a hippo in the Pacific Ocean, you're good to go. Take those jerseys.
They see hippo. Just a hippo who doesn't give a shit. He's halfway through his nap.
Now
Hippo
if you were telling me that it was like, I would honestly try for the 62, but I would do anything for a Wild Wing and a few other jerseys to ride a hippo. I would do anything to survive. Because at best, I would survive that and then get bucked off at 2.5 and then have to run for my life.
He would have to get out of the water to buck you off. So, I mean, you kill some time. Like, you're hoping he fully exits the water. If that clock's counting down, like you're at a minute 50 and the hippo starts going for the shore, you're like, oh, come on, hippo. 10 more seconds. We got this. All right, Justin, let's go to you for fake or authentic. You would ride a wild hippo's back.
I'm going to say authentic just by playing the mask game. I don't think a hippo would notice a little Justin on top of him.
Oh, yeah, Justin.
I think
Tiny little man strikes again.
Justin gets on there, the hippo thinks it's one of the birds.
Exactly. As long as I poke him a couple times to know I'm pecking him, I think he's good to go.
Justin will be like an eye-hole man. He'll come out of nowhere.
I'm just picturing Justin swimming up to this hippo really slowly.
Just sauntering on top of him.
Start grooming it to show he's docile.
Hippo, it's okay.
It's grooming time. starts getting antsy when he's not getting groomed. So
Justin would walk slowly up to it, playing the Pink Panther theme song.
I normally hum that as I walk around anyway, so I'm ready to go.
TC, fake or authentic?
100% fake. Hippopotami kill more people each year than lions, elephants, leopards, buffaloes, rhinos, and sharks combined.
He definitely did not close this up. He knows this.
What about vending machines?
The apex predator. It kills over 500 people a year. Like it looks like a big, fat, like useless animal, but they are vicious. They are severely territorial. If you step up in its little bog, it's going to murder the ever-loving hell out of you.
You realize he said ride a hippo, not Tom Wilson, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Well, I don't even
choice.
think Tom Wilson would ride a hippo.
No.
Choice, all right?
No.
You can ride the hippo, or you can get in a car with Danny Heatley.
So I'm basically, it's not a question of survival. It's how do I want to die? Which do I think
Quick
is
and painless.
By
Or
hippo.
Danny
Or by
Heatley
Danny
talking about his
Heatley.
sick
or
teeth.
have to spend time with Danny Heatley and then die. I'd take the hippopotamus over spending time with Danny Heatley.
You know, I used to be really good in the NHL. Oh, my God.
Oh, God, just crashed his car already. Jesus.
Danny, I know. I played NHL 04 on the original Xbox. I know at one time you were okay. But, like, you're just such an awful person.
All right, Bpoe.
Danny Heatley, if you want to come on the podcast, talk about hippos anytime, hit us up.
Danny Heatley and James Neal.
Hippo talk with Heatley.
The Hippos and Jock Strap podcast.
Open
Neal,
in.
Danny Heatley, and a hippo.
3 men enter, 1 walks out.
We should get a hippo on next week's podcast.
That's a good point.
Well said, hippo.
He likes the Black Island, New Jersey, too.
Well said, Hippo.
All right, Bpoe.
How you feeling? Oh, you're hungry? All right. Well, you can go now.
Here's some marbles. Get on out of here. All right, Bpoe, fake or authentic?
I'm going to say authentic, and because he didn't put any other stipulations on it than riding the hippo, here's my plan.
Oh my god.
I'm going to get it with professional help. I'm going to tranquilize it, get it tied and secured down, get
Fence it in.
me onto the top of the hippo, like a saddle or something that'll secure me down.
A
Sit on,
fence.
You're going bareback.
sit on it for 2 minutes, I get off, and then I profit.
Hey, you got a
Bro,
bareback.
you ruin all of these challenges.
No,
He
Bpoe,
just turned the hippo into a smart car. Like, you're not even riding a hippo at that point. Like,
He's like, last week it's like, how do you want to fist fight a bear? Well,
I'll just fight a dead bear. That's fine.
It depends on what you mean by bear.
Oh, a teddy bear? Yeah, I got this.
Are we talking a stuffed bear? Like, is it Build-A-Bear?
We talking a black bear that looks like a drunk guy walking on 2 legs all the time?
Steve, it's 2018. African-American bear.
Just
Hey, look, last week he said fight a bear. He never said it couldn't be a gunfight.
yeah, and then look what happened. The bear got friggin' duct tape.
Lasers, chainsaws, and flamethrowers.
Well, I didn't do that part. That
That's
was
what
easy.
happens when you poke the bear.
Or the hippo.
He gets chainsaws.
What's that
Flaming
book about
chainsaw.
the kid who gets lost in the Canadian wilderness with just a hatchet?
Hatchet.
Hatchet.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Check out.
Yeah.
That's the life story of every Canadian.
Okay, yeah,
It's called
that
chainsaw,
would be
I'm not
Bpoe.
sure.
Bpoe, duct tape and bear.
I'd read that book.
A coming-of-age novel.
He gets rescued from the
There
forest.
aren't any crustless PB&Js out here. I'm gonna have to murder a bear for survival.
He gets rescued from the forest, and the rescuers just find Bpoe and a bunch of duct-taped animals.
Why did you duct tape 2
Yeah,
gophers to each other?
They find him, put
It
him in
just
the
felt right.
helicopter. He's like, "This chair isn't squeaking. I don't know this world
I don't know
anymore."
how to sit.
Oh,
me back.
man.
I don't belong in this world.
Imagine-
Bears.
Imagine if somebody's listening to this podcast and it's their first HJC podcast.
I love them.
They will never listen again. This episode has pretty much been exclusively callbacks.
All right, let's get some Jersey news here. I listened for an hour. They just talked about hippos.
And then they had chainsaw bears?
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?
Hippos, jockstraps, PB&J, just a regular Saturday night. It's fine.
Ma, this is PB Jam. I said PB Jelly. Make it again.
Mom! You left the corner of the crust on. No, I don't want you to cut it up. Make me a new one.
Are we able to move on now?
No.
No, this is
Never.
good stuff.
Don't be ridiculous.
This is our
Can't
type
stop
5.
addicted.
The best part about before these podcasts is Bpoe is rarely ever on right when everyone else is on. So usually we're all making jokes about how Bpoe's going to his mom and saying, "Ma, don't come in the room this time." Really, the guys make fun of me every time. Stop. All right. I don't have anything else for fake or authentic. It ended at the hippos there. So, and there's nothing in the mailbag. So
We advertised it.
come on, guys, we advertised the mailbag this week, but there's nothing. There's nothing in the mailbag.
All right, I got one for you.
Go ahead.
What's the one piece of non-jersey hockey memorabilia you really want?
Jockstrap.
No.
Semen sample from Tyler Sagan.
You could make a good deal of money.
That's
Wayne
it.
Gretzky Jofa helmet.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I'd love Felix Potvin goalie pads.
Mm.
That
I'd
would be,
love a
Or
game
even
used
just a
mask.
mask.
Yeah, game used mask
Yeah.
would be really sweet.
yeah, that would be definitely cool. I've always loved, I mean, all the modern masks are really cool, but for some reason I've always loved Ken Dryden's 72 mask. It's not the Hall of Fame, so, you know, it's not really obtainable,
It's
but
a little harder to get.
I mean, I could get it.
A little
but-
bit.
I will say,
Keeping it is
really
the
nice
hard.
mask that was shown recently was Stefan Fisse's from when he was on the Nordiques.
The igloo one with the
Yes.
ice bricks, yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a good
very
one.
nice. I think that getting what I'm looking at right now is a lot of like big league names in the minors.
Mm.
So guys like when Larry Robinson played for the Nova Scotia Voyageurs,
Classic.
like that sort of thing. Like where you had these guys who would go on to be some of the best of all time, played for some pretty low-ranking clubs. Getting some of that stuff.
That would be pretty cool. I think, actually, in regards to the question, I already have the one thing I was always after, and that would be the chair from Maple Leaf Gardens. I always knew that whenever they closed that building, because I went there as a kid so many times to see the Leafs, and I always knew that when they closed that building, I was going to get a chair, even if they went on sale or not. Luckily for me, they went on sale. But that's my hockey memorabilia piece that I've always wanted.
I thought the biggest piece of hockey memorabilia you wanted was anything from Mr. Reese.
Jeff Reese? Oh, if I could have something Jeff Reese.
He's back.
Maybe I'll make it. Where's he? I think he's in Dallas as the goalie coach.
Yeah, he's the goalie coach of Dallas.
Oh,
Dude,
head down
got
for the
you.
draft
easy
this year.
money. Easy money. I got you.
I'll head down to the
Ben.
draft this year and just remind him that when I was
Just
6.
corner him.
Yep. Really awkwardly, too. Hey,
Bring
Jeff.
him up, he'll do anything you want.
And I'll remind him that when I was 6 years old, I wrote him a letter and drew him a picture. And he got on his computer. This would have been 1990 at the time. And he wrote me a letter back with a signed photo. This is the greatest thing ever. And I still have it. It's the best. So, Jeff Reese, if you listen to this podcast, which I know you do, give us a call and we'll get you on.
I will say the biggest thing I want, in similar vein to Jeff Reese, anything from Darcy Tucker.
Mm.
Particularly, this is the glove I punched insert senator's name here. Out with. This was the glove I punched Chris Neal out with. Wow.
You know what I want? I want the puck from Game 6 of last year's Cup Final that the Predators scored, but then they didn't score. Or the Predators were almost scored. The Predators scored. Well, no,
Definitely 100% scored, but didn't
Oh
score.
my God!
It's
You know,
fine.
lucky Kaz is not a writer anymore. Otherwise, he'd go off on you.
All right.
I want the fragments of shattered jaw from Jeremy Roenick after he got boarded in that one game.
Oh, No. The TC wants Passy Nurmanen's letters of disgust to the Atlanta Thrashers organization upon leaving.
Oh yes.
I want a cup of the piss that Tom Wilson drinks.
I want a cup of the piss that Tom Wilson is.
I want Andre Pavlik's anything. Just like Andre
Seaman! How it really is.
I want Andre Pavlik's letter to Winnipeg upon leaving. Bye.
I want one of Tyler Sagan's kids. That'd be nice to get those checks every
You
week.
can have them.
I want the rubber duck that Tyler Sagan had in that photo shoot.
Oh my god.
Pavel Bure's rollerblades. From the famous Upper Deck 1991-1992 rookie card, where his rookie card is him on the boardwalk in L.A., just in rollerblades.
His road standing there.
Or Mike Greer's 1996 Edmonton Oilers card, signed by him, where he's eating a slice of pizza. In full
I have
Oilers
that card.
This is why Mike Greer is on the back of one of my Sabres jerseys. He's just sitting in the locker room with a big, greasy slice of pizza.
I
And
have that
somewhere along
card.
the way, he said, Upper Deck, use this photo.
Good to
No,
go.
seriously, I do have that card. If you want it, I'll give it to you.
Oh, I would love that card.
I'd have to find it, but I'll give it to you.
Mike Greer, if you listen to the podcast, get on here. Tell us about that pizza.
I want a hockey
Really
card.
remembers it.
I want a hockey card, like, for someone, but it's signed by a completely different player. I think that would be fantastic.
This is a rare Shane Corson's card signed by Matt Snaslin.
I had a
Wayne Gretzky rookie card signed by Craig Adams.
Yes,
A Wayne
exactly.
Gretzky, a Brett Gretzky card signed by Wayne.
A Wayne Gretzky card signed by Brett.
Yeah.
Brett can't even get that.
Hey, bro, can you sign this? Get out of here.
Oh, you're adorable. Get out.
I'd have to find it.
You told me you'd be leaving the guest house last week.
Look, Wayne. Look, Wayne, I got drafted by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Who cares? You don't play with Kelly or Rudy.
Tussle my hair, won't you, big bro? Get out of here.
You played with Brett, you played with a girl.
Yeah, it'd be funny.
This podcast?
I've
Oh,
always
God.
imagined, like, talking to Ovechkin. And like, hey, can I get your autograph? He'd be like, yeah. And I just hand him, like, Sidney Crosby's rookie card. And just see his face. And just
he'll
want
be over
him
that
to
if he
tell
wins
me
the
to
cup
fuck
this year.
off.
Yeah, it's true.
If he wins the cup this year, it's like, that doesn't matter anymore.
So yeah,
It doesn't
I
matter
want him-
anymore, he'll be happy.
If he loses, I want to get his autograph on a miniature replica of the Stanley Cup.
Or the
He
Prince
loses,
of
hand
Wales
him
trophy.
Sidney Crosby holding the cup.
No, just do a time lapse of every year he's lifted the cup. All those photos in one big collage. This is for you. You can live vicariously through it.
I hope you like it.
Here's a piece of memorabilia that I want: the shoe that Mike Milbury used to beat that guy whenever they all.
Oh, that's a
Damn.
good
Oh my
one.
gosh. I've got a hockey card from my childhood, which is it's a Jeff Hackett card. I'll have to find it when I go home. But he's the card is a Philadelphia Flyers card, but he's wearing a Boston Bruins jersey, and he still has his Montreal Canadian pads on.
Yes, that's
It is the most
fantastic.
beautiful clusterfuck of a card I've ever
I want
seen.
Tim Thomas to sign a card of his where when he was wearing the floor. I want Tim Thomas's Florida pads that he wore in Dallas.
There you go. I want that helmet, man.
Yeah.
I want Tim Thomas, and then I want Tim Thomas to on those pads write out his manifesto of why Tyler Seguin drove him to insanity and why he blamed Obama for it. Because as we all remember, Tim Thomas did not actually dislike Obama. He just blamed him as a scapegoat for the fact that some punk kid slept with his wife.
See, I've seen Tim Thomas play live in a Dallas Stars uniform, and I'm still not convinced that Tim Thomas ever played for the Dallas Stars.
Okay, I feel the same way about Jack Porter.
Tim.
Here's another interesting piece of memorabilia. Whenever the Penguins won the Cup the last couple of years, my one former friend printed out a tweet of theirs and took it to the autograph sign that they had and got their own tweet signed. So it was the player's tweet, not their own.
Okay, I was like, that's an approach.
It would be. See, I would print off just the dumbest tweet, like if Crosby tweeted out "pizza tonight" or something like that.
I think one of the tweets, I'll just say it was Scott Wilson. One of the tweets was like, "I now understand why my mom never let me listen to Eminem when I was younger," or something like that.
The key of that one would be like the LA Chargers original Twitter account. One of the first tweets was like, thinking about ordering BFJ.
Get the entire team to sign that.
If I get the entire team to sign that thing, like get Phillip Rivers, like the grumpiest guy in the world, Phillip Rivers, to look at that. It's like,
no. Or like imagine before this season you predicted Vegas to win the Cup and you tweeted it. Get that printed out and go get it signed by them if they win.
Oh man!
Or like
hell even if you just had a perfect playoff bracket this year,
or like the guy who got a Gary Bettman tattooed onto his ass. Get a picture of that tweet printed out and get Bettman to sign it.
Don't even get a picture, just bring the guy.
Or just
sign this guy's ass.
Yeah, just get Bettman to sign your ass for the tattoo and then get that tattooed in addition.
I mean,
get it tattooed under the tattoo.
Go to your local construction site, pick up a pylon, and go to Ottawa and get Dion Phaneuf to sign
it.
That's LA
sign
now.
Yourself. Go nuts. I'm sure that's happened before.
I'm sure Phaneuf, or it's like get a hot dog wrapper and get Phil Kessel to sign it, or
get a garbage can ticket to Tom Wilson. You're good to go.
A cup or a glass of piss or something like that. You give it to Tom Wilson.
I would just give Tom Wilson a glass of piss. I don't even need him to sign it.
Tommy, need you to sign this urine sample, bud. Thanks.
I want
Tyler Sagan's
This is the top one. It's Gary Roberts. Because you get him to sign a picture of him when he's in the penalty box when he played for Pittsburgh, and the TV says, Gary Roberts, too much man.
Yes.
Incredible.
I want Gary Roberts to look at that, smile, nod, sign, and say, fuck you.
Too much man.
All right, that's a good spot to end the podcast there. So,
hey, wait, I got one more.
Okay, of course.
Specifically, I thought of getting Pascal Dupuis' tooth that he pulled out in the middle of that one game. But imagine just getting any player's tooth that either fell out or got pulled out in the middle of a game. That would be an interesting one.
I literally came out here and said that I wanted Ronick's jaw. That's better than some stupid tooth. I get 3 or 4 teeth with that. Yeah, you're taking 2 steps back.
All right. That is I think that was the Jersey Nerds podcast for this week. It also turned into Hippo Talk and just...
Hippo! We'll be back with more Hippo Talk Radio after these messages from your local station.
What animal are we going to do next week? You got to tune in to find out.
Contrary to popular belief, this is not a nature podcast.
TC, you got to sing your cum rag commercial now.
Yeah, that was the Jersey Nerds podcast, sponsored by Cum Rags.
Jizz rag, it's a rag for your jizz.
All right, that's good enough. We'll see you next week.